Hey, welcome to Thousand Trails Medina Lake.
I love it here.
She does.
I do.
It's a pretty nice park. We stayed here, the last time we stayed here was about 3 years ago. It's part of our Thousand Trails package. And we haven't stayed here, like I said, for about 3 years. It's about 20 miles northwest of San Antonio. And they've made a lot of changes in the last 3 years.
They have. When we first got here, or first came here, didn't like it so much. It
Well,
looked old and run down.
yeah, but they made a lot of changes, and we thought we'd share with you a little bit about Thousand Trails Medina Lake.
3, 2, 1, action.
So the campground is split up in about 4 different main sections. They have the upper area and they have the lower area. And this is one of those Thousand Trail parks that will assign you sites.
And sometimes I don't like that.
So what we've discovered is that when we make our reservations, the computer assigns us a site. It just goes through and says, how big are you and what do you want? And it assigns the site. What we do is about a week after we make our reservation, we actually call the ranger station and say, hey, this is the equipment we've got and you know, this is what we need and what have you got that's open? And they normally will readjust our site for us, which we like a lot.
So far, so good, yeah.
Yeah. That happens to us at Bridgeport as well. But these sites are more of a, I guess the whole campground is more of a woodsy feel than a resort.
I really like it, especially if it's a warm day and you have tree shade. It's just wonderful.
The trees really do create a lot of shade.
Yes.
And as you probably well know, San Antonio can get hot in the spring and the summertime and with a lot of humidity. And so the shade from the trees really does help. The access to all of the camping areas are kind of a mix between paved and gravel roads.
There's a few areas that are a little rough, but all in all, they're fairly good roads.
Yeah, we didn't have any issues coming in with our big rig at all.
No, none.
We did disconnect when we got to the visit or to the office. We did disconnect, and Kelly drove in front of me to kind of scope out what we were going to need to do when we pulled in. But for the most part, the roads are in pretty good shape.
And there's way enough room for us to back in and have no issues with our truck.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, there's 387 sites. They're a mix.
Yes.
And what I discovered from the office, and by the way, the office people are just extremely knowledgeable and extremely friendly, and they helped us out quite a bit, actually.
Yes, they did.
But they tell us that the park is in the process of putting together upgrades, 50 amp upgrades throughout the park.
Yes.
So right now, the majority of the sites are 30 amp, and it's a mix of full hookups or just electric and water, 30 amp and 50 amp. The shortage that they really have are the 50 amp sites with full hookups.
Yes.
But we didn't have an issue getting into one.
No, not at all.
Most of their sites are fairly level.
Yes.
And really easy to get into. And you look at the trees and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's so narrow. But the sites are actually pretty darn wide.
Yes, very spacious.
The site that we're in right now, we actually we pushed the fifth wheel kind of off to one side with plenty of room for our slides and the power pedestal. And we were able to park Big Red next to it and still get the Jeep out front.
And the Can-Am
on
the side.
Yeah.
It all fit in there nicely.
Yeah. So in the park, they have kind of an upper section and a lower section. The upper section is where we always stayed when we were here previously. Kelly didn't like it too well, but they've actually improved it. They've cleaned up the sites immensely.
We drove around and I said, I love this place.
Yeah.
I think I even love it more than Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Even though I like Bridgeport, but I think it's the trees. I think that's the big juniper bushes.
Yeah, unfortunately in the upper section, there's not a whole lot of 50 amp sites with sewer. So a lot of them are wide open, as you can see. You know, a lot of 30 amps, but not a whole lot of 50 with hookups. As I said, the park is in the process of upgrading for that.
Yes.
In the lower section, when we made our reservations, they did say one of my options was a water view 50 amp with hookups. And more about that here in a second, because Medina Lake, you would think, has got a lake. It's been so dry here that they don't, the lake is dried up, guys.
It breaks my heart to see that.
Take a look at this. We actually drove down the boat ramp to try to find the water, and there is no water in the lake.
No water.
It is all dried up. They are in an extreme drought here in the San Antonio area.
There are cows grazing there.
There are cows grazing down it where the lake water should be.
Yes.
But there is no water view at this point.
No.
Hopefully they'll get some rain and the lake will fill back up. But right now it's as dry as a bone and there is no water view. But the lower sites are very, very spacious. And that's where the majority of the 50 amps are with sewer.
Yes.
The park has plenty of amenities. In fact, probably more than what we've seen in a lot of Thousand Trails
Yes.
properties.
And it's kept up.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. They keep it pretty clean. So they've got a big activity center, big clubhouse. More about that here in a second, but they also have a very nice hot tub and pool.
They do. The pool is so pretty.
And it's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's an L-shaped pool. It's a rather large pool, but it's L-shaped. And it looked clean. I mean, we're not water people. We don't normally use the pool, but
No, but kind of made me want to jump in. It was very sparkly.
both the pool and the hot tub looked very, very clean. They have laundry facilities, which we've used.
They do. And if you're tall, you have to duck to get in.
Yeah.
Don't hit your head.
Yeah. It's in an older house, old cabin style house, but there were what, 4 or 5 washers and 4 or 5 dryers?
I think there was 6. 6
there?
washers and 6 dryers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's set up on a you can either buy a card and use the card. We're not big advocates of the laundry cards because
It's a waste of money.
we always seem to leave money on the table when we do that.
Yeah.
But these particular machines are $2 for a wash and $2 for an hour dry, and you can use your credit card right there on the machine.
Yeah.
So
Don't forget though, when you look at your
statement.
the $2, that's what it's for.
Yeah, I was reconciling our credit card account the other day, and I looked at it and I thought, what the heck?
What are these $2 charges?
Yeah. So anyway, but it worked really well,
it
and the
did.
machines seemed to work very well for us.
And it saves you money.
Yeah.
In the long run.
So as far as the office is concerned, the staff, they're very, very friendly.
Yes.
They bent over backwards to find us a site that we would fit in and feel comfortable in.
Yes.
And we really appreciate that. And they also accept packages. So they won't accept U.S. mail. They say that you can get your general delivery mail at a local post office near the park. But they will accept UPS and FedEx packages, and there is a fee. I have no idea what it is.
Yes, they say to call the office to ask, because I'm assuming it changes.
Yeah, so I don't know what the fees are, but they will accept UPS and FedEx at a per package fee. Now, getting back to the activity center, the park seems to be focused on family friendly.
Yeah.
Which we really like. They've got activities inside the center. They've got a multitude of games, board games, card games. They've got a miniature pool table for the kids. They've got a regular sized billiards table for adults. They've got a kitchen for activities. We've never seen one used in any of the places that we've been. But they also have, at the activity center, they have a pickleball court.
They do. They have a small one that's underneath the overhang.
Yeah.
And hey, we saw people playing it.
Yeah. They have a miniature golf area. They have disc frisbee golf. They have the playground with swings and slides and monkey bars and everything that goes with that.
And volleyball with the sand.
Yeah, they have a sand volleyball court.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was
and
really cool.
And it was very clean. It was. It looked very, very nice. They have a couple of basketball courts, sidewalk chalk for the kids.
I thought that was the cutest thing.
Yeah.
It was just sitting outside on the table, so anybody that wants to go up there can ride on the sidewalk.
But you know, the activity center allows you to have a group. If you're here with a group of people, it allows you to get together with your group.
Tons of tables and chairs.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. They have a TV area
With comfy couch
with a
and
DVD
chairs.
player and
Yeah.
a lot of DVD movies to watch. So, I mean, it's a really nice activity center.
What I like about it is that you can go in there if the day is not nice and you don't want to be stuck in with your kids. You can just go in the activity center, watch TV, and the kids can run around and play and get all their energy out. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Other amenities include the dog park.
Yes, it's not huge, but
No.
it's a dog park.
Yeah, it allows you to unleash your dog and let them, you know, do their business, you know, in an enclosed area, which is kind of nice.
Yes.
They have a lot of hiking trails.
They do, and I haven't looked into. There was a piece of paper that came with it, with all of the information, and there's trails that you can walk, and you get some kind of a badge if you complete as you complete
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They also have picnic tables scattered throughout.
Yeah, all over the
We're
place.
sitting on a picnic table now just outside of the activity center that you could use for a picnic. I'm not sure why you would need to, but I suppose you could have a picnic lunch while your kids are playing on the playground.
Yeah, because this is a big area. They
Yeah.
can play here and have fun, and there's also 2 burn pits.
Oh yeah,
here.
yeah, they do.
So you can cook out here too.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And they also have a boat launch. But I'm not
The
sure.
boat launch to nowhere.
A boat launch to nowhere. I'm sure when the water's up, it's used quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's a playground right down by where it should be the lake shore.
There's a nice little play
Little
area.
playground down there as well.
Swings
So
and slide.
one of the things that we found that was a little different in this park was that they don't have a lot of garbage dumpsters.
No.
And I guess I understand that.
I'm sure it's expensive
yeah.
to be stopping but you know, I mean, but it's enough, and you can walk to them. It's not a big deal, but we usually there's some right out on the exit, and so we just go in there and dump our garbage before we leave for town.
Yeah, they've got 2, 3, 4. They've got 5 up in the upper section, 5 dumpsters in the upper section, and then
Scattered.
they have another 2 here at the activity center, and then they've got a couple down by the Lakeview sites. So they're still convenient. They're in the area, but you do have to hoof it, you know.
Yeah, you gotta find them out. And that's it looked like on the map there was only 4.
Yeah.
And then when we started walking around and driving around, we're like, oh, there's some more, and
Yeah.
there's some more. So they're all scattered.
So all in all, we're pretty impressed with this park.
I love it here. I want to come back.
Yeah, as I say, it's not a 5-star resort by
No.
any means, or even a 4-star resort for that matter.
No, and we're not.
It's a campground.
Yes, it's a campground.
It is a campground.
And
It's not a
that's-
resort.
And that's, we're not fancy people anyway. So this is, I mean, it has a pool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot here.
But we normally don't use the amenities at a park. We usually stay in a park just to eat and sleep and use it as kind of a jump off point to see the local sites and,
Right.
and what's going on. So normally we don't use the amenities at a park, but this one's got a lot, and
does.
it does have a campground feel. In fact, there are, I don't know how many deer they've got running through here, but they've got a bunch of white-tailed deer that actually live here in the park.
I know it. That night we had some walking in after we got all settled, and I'm like, oh, it's the welcoming committee.
Yeah. And it is such a woodsy feel as well. They do have a tent area, so they do allow
Yes,
tents.
Yes.
But as we said, this is part of our Thousand Trails package, and Thousand Trails has been really good to us.
They have.
They, you know, over the years, we have used the heck out of the membership and saved a lot of money in the process.
Yes.
And if you're interested in finding out more about our, you know, our opinions on the Thousand Trails park passes, we can certainly have that discussion. But
Yes.
we're real happy with Thousand Trails. Their parks are not by any means the best park that we probably found in the Thousand Trails membership. Well, I have a couple of favorites. Conroe,
Yes.
Texas is really nice.
Yes.
And
Hershey.
Hershey, Pennsylvania is a very nice park.
Yes.
And Orlando, Thousand Trails Orlando,
Oh, yes.
TTO.
And they're all different. They're all, you know, I mean, TTO was open and
Yep.
but it was so pretty in there.
Yep.
It was lovely.
But this is a park. None of the sites are concrete pads. They're all gravel pads. But as I say, most of them are level, easy to get in and out of. Even with the trees, as many trees as they have here, the sites are pretty easy to get in and out of. Now, one thing you do have to remember, though, guys, when you're making your reservation, you might ask if Starlink is something that you need for communication and Wi-Fi calling and that sort of thing. You might mention that to them when you call to book your site, because there's a lot of trees. Almost every site has got a tree cover to it. We were able to find a hole up above our fifth wheel and get up and out because I put the Starlink on top of our fifth wheel. But the trees are going to create havoc with your Starlink reception, as well as if you use a satellite dish like for Direct or Dish TV, they will affect that as well. So keep that in mind when you're booking your site. There are a lot of sites that are not tree covered, no tree canopy.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you converse with the ranger station when you make your reservations. But all in all, we're real happy with this park. We will be back.
Oh, absolutely. It went from my worst campground to one of my favorites.
Yeah. Now, there isn't a whole lot to do here in the local area, but as far as commuting into San Antonio, it's probably a 40 to 45 minute commute
Yes.
into shopping.
Yeah.
And sightseeing and that sort of thing in San Antonio. So keep that in mind. It is a ways out. It is in hill country. The roads getting in are windy and hilly, so it is hill country, and they call it hill country for a reason.
Exactly.
But if you can, and on a motorcycle, this
Oh.
would be an amazing area.
Yes. I can imagine what it's like on a motorcycle.
All right, so that's our opinion on Thousand Trails Medina Lake in San Antonio, Texas. Actually, it's in Lakehills, Texas. So we're gonna wrap this one up from San Antonio, Texas.
It all starts with an idea.
Take those ideas, turn them into reality, make some memories, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.